Hey everyone! Hope you're having an amazing day. It's Code Karen. Welcome to r/Am I the A-hole, where we have 2 incredible stories with comments. If you are new to this channel, a sub would be great. Let's jump to the stories. Our first story is, Am I the A-hole? My father stole my identity, and I repaid him by exposing him as a felon on Facebook. 2 years ago, my father stole my identity to open a $7,000 line of credit in my name. I was not at any point aware that he opened this line of credit, nor did I consent to it. If my bank had not sent me the paperwork to my home address, I would never have known. After ruling out all the people close to me that might have stolen my identity, I concluded that my father must have done this. There was no other explanation because I knew what this money was used for: a new car. So I brought my friend to serve as a witness when I went to confront him with these allegations. He visibly panicked, but didn't deny fraudulently using my identity to gain access to some money. To this day, he has not denied these allegations. Everyone I spoke to about this thought that I should file charges against him, but I just couldn't do it. In my state, if a crime exceeds $5,000, my father would be convicted and sentenced to a minimum of 3 years. I just can't do that. It just doesn't feel like an option. Fast forward to last year. Not a huge surprise, but my father went to jail for several unrelated theft charges. His girlfriend at the time basically acted as an extortionist on his behalf. She told me they expected me to repay the loan he fraudulently opened in my name, and to come up with $14,500 to bail him out of jail. I was 22 years old with zero money. How did she think I was going to find this type of cash? She went on to say really ugly things about me and tried to guilt trip me into coming up with this money. But I refused. I was not going to be part of his crimes. That was the day I told myself that I must remove myself from the relationship. I have not spoken to my father in over a year. Fast forward to present day, and this is what my life is like. I'm alone with no family to speak of, no extended family, nothing. It appears as though he twisted the story to make it out as though I stole from him. I fraudulently opened credit under his name. His side of the family is dumb enough to believe this. I know this because I tried to reach out to several members of my family and it was always combative. They didn't want to hear my side of the story. I'm the thief. So, I gathered my evidence and offered to show them complete transcripts of my messages between me and my father, 52 text messages, and they are damning. I also have screenshots from his ex-girlfriend that are also quite damning. There is one text where she says that if the loan is not repaid while my father is in jail, my credit would be destroyed forever. So, by keeping my mouth shut, I kept my father out of prison and allowed him to build a new life. I paid the price, in more ways than one. I posted all of this on Facebook and tagged every single family member I could think of. To this day, no one has responded or said a word to me. Am I the a-hole for airing out my dirty family laundry to everyone on Facebook? Or am I the a-hole for not realizing that whatever my father says to his family is considered the gospel truth, and anything I say is seen as a big lie? Winter is Meowing says, When I think about your behavior in comparison to what your father and his girlfriend did, you're obviously not the a-hole. Your dad is a clear a-hole, and also a felon. What happened to you is awful, but you do admit that posting private family business wasn't right either. My advice? Stay away from those people. Your family are a-holes, and you should go no contact. Don't stoop to their level. Cut all contact and take down the Facebook posts. Move on with your life. No Journalist 5009 says, I can understand what you're saying. After I moved away from home, my father opened a line of credit in my name. This basically tanked my credit score. I didn't know this until I tried to get a credit card and was told not a chance. I never exposed him or talked to him about it, but it fractured our relationship. Eventually, he repaid this loan, but I will never forgive him for using me in that way. Like you, his family aligned with him, not me. Try to get a lawyer if you can afford it. If he decides to forfeit on the loan, you are on the hook for it. Rebel Dynasty says, Not the a-hole. Your father brought this on himself. The fact that your other family members cut contact with you is incredibly revealing and indicates much of what you've speculated, that he told them his version of the story, which of course is false. Your other family members are also a-holes for blindly siding with him and never once reaching out to hear your side of things. So no, you're definitely not the a-hole. Posting on Facebook was an act of desperation. I get why you did it. To basically try and force people to believe you if you could show them the evidence. But from their non-reaction, the evidence was not enough. Sail away, my friend. GooseyGirl0521 says, "My mother did the same thing. It's obvious that your family wants this to stay a family matter and not a public one. A lot of my family want nothing to do with me because I have no contact with my mother. There's other reasons it's no contact, but a lot has to do with the thousands of dollars she stole from me. She really messed up my credit score. So much so that I couldn't even get my name on my house with my husband. It's amazing when you are young what you will do to cover for a parent. If it makes you feel better, go to the police to protect yourself. Just know that your family has chosen sides and they likely aren't going to want anything to do with you in the future. Good luck to you." Lions vs. Dragons says, "Not the a-hole. As someone who is a victim of identity theft by a parent, I can understand why you wouldn't want to go to the cops. I would have done the same as you. In my case, I was able to report the theft after my father died and got out of paying the $2,000 he racked up, but that took a lot of time to get resolved. I say, build your own life and put this behind you." Our second story is, am I the a-hole for being petty by throwing my siblings' own words back in their faces? This might get a little complicated, but bear with me. I have 2 biological brothers, and I have 3 half-adopted siblings and 1 stepsister. My dad married my adoptive mom when I was a year old, and my brothers were a little bit older than me. My dad also adopted 3 of my step-siblings. I know. It can get confusing. Anyway, when I was 9 years old, my dad and mom died in a car accident, leaving all of us orphans. My stepsister took her biological siblings to live with her, and my grandparents helped her out, but my brothers and I had no other choice but to go into foster care. Foster care did not let us keep in touch with our siblings, and no one from the family tried to keep in touch with us. When I turned 18, my brothers and I reached out to our other siblings and were told that it would be too weird and awkward to reconnect after everything that has happened. It really hurt. I'm not going to lie. I spent so many years excited to see them again, and they rejected us. Last year, my brothers reconnected with the family, but I didn't because I was traveling. This is important to note. Since I left foster care, I became a very successful businessman and have a good deal of wealth now. They didn't show that much enthusiasm before when I was poor, but when I announced my engagement, they were somehow very happy for me. Now, everything is rosy and they want an invitation to the wedding. My reply to them was, quote, "It would be too weird and awkward to have you at the wedding after everything that happened." Almost verbatim what they said to me. They did not like my reply. They said I am being unfair to them and we should act more like family. Yeah, but I would want to know that they care about me and not my money. Once they heard about my money, they took a 180-degree flip and wanted to make up for lost time. Am I the a-hole for being so flip and petty by throwing their own words back in their faces? Should I be skeptical that their newfound love for me is genuine? Is their change in attitude rooted in love, or is it rooted in money? Old Broad 54 says, "Not the a-hole. I am hugging you super tight. I am so very sorry what you and your brothers had to go through. Congrats on your wedding. I hope that it is just the beginning of a lifetime of love and happiness for you. You have every right to refuse to have them at your wedding. And nope, not petty at all in using their words. You were a child when you lost everyone, and even as a young adult, you tried to reach out to them, and they shut you out. I've always told my kids, your past is the doorway to your future. You can hang onto the frame, or you can step through it. My advice is to move ahead and do not look back." Sanrio Centris says, "You do not at all sound petty. Sounds like they can dish it, but can't take it. It's incredibly cruel of your siblings that were not put into foster care to then turn around and say getting back together as a family is too awkward. It would probably be a little awkward in the beginning because you guys spent a pretty long time apart, but that is such a cold response to give someone who did nothing wrong and who is still family. And I don't understand why a wedding changed that for them. Or was it the money like you said? Either way, why would you want to pay to feed and host people who had no interest in you prior to your wedding announcement?" Drunk Sleepy Turtle says, "Definitely not the a-hole. If you want to know if they really care, you could ask them if they are open to meeting with you after the wedding. That might give you some insight into whether they want to reconnect with you or connect with your money. I wouldn't want this reconnecting drama at my wedding. Choose another time and place. I can sense a complicated backstory, that there is more to this story than you are telling us. Just my thoughts. Kitty and Bunny says, absolutely not the a-hole. It sounds like your siblings are hoping to get free food and drink at your wedding reception. Here's an interesting story that I think you'll like. My cousin invited us to his son's christening. At the end, we were asked to stay seated because they were taking photos. Then all of a sudden, we hear the organ music, Here Comes the Bride. We see his beautiful girlfriend walking down the aisle. They told their parents the night before because the girlfriend wanted her dad to give her away. My uncle stood by my cousin as his best man. It was wonderful. Afterwards, my cousin said he knew everyone would come for a wedding reception, but only those who matter and cared would come out on an early Sunday morning for a christening. Your wedding should only include those you and your significant other want to be included in your special day. No one else. Swineberg's Barbecue says, regardless of all the family drama, ultimately, it is your day. Invite only those who will lift you up and support you in your marriage, and who you want to be there. Your wedding day is the one day where you get to make all the decisions without feeling guilty. Do it big and with no regrets. As your family situation, start the process of healing, but maybe your wedding day is not the day to start. Or maybe it is. Can't say for sure. Ask your fiancé for her thoughts, because this is the only person whose opinion should matter to you. Mr. Avalanche 1981 says, they made their choice to have a distant relationship with you. I would tell them that they're not invited to your wedding, but if they genuinely want to mend the relationship, you'll be available after the wedding. If they can't accept that, then they weren't ever planning to be there for you in the future. I say, give your family a second chance at forming a relationship. You were separated for a lot of years, and everyone sounds like they have a lot of bonding and trust issues. Congrats that you made a success of your life, and in time, you will know who is in your life for love and who is in your life for your money. Baseball Over Forever says, first off, not the a-hole, but I think you have to consider this. Are you making this decision out of spite because they hurt you, or because you think it might have to do something with a money grab? If it's the latter, move on. If it's because you're hurt, I think you owe it to yourself to try to heal this family. You don't want to regret that you had the opportunity to reconnect and you didn't because of your pride. Maybe see if they are willing to reconnect after the wedding, and this will show what their true intentions really are. Say something like, I'm willing to give this a chance, but I'm really busy with all this wedding stuff. Maybe we can reconnect after it all slows down. Just a thought. Good luck in whatever you do. Jared Kidde says, I am so very sorry for your losses. To lose your parents and then your family is devastating. I ended up in the foster system at a young age, bounced from home to home, and even though I had plenty of relatives, none of them ever tried to take me into their homes. It hurt. It still hurts, and I'm an adult with my own kids now. For me, I admire that you tried to reconnect with your siblings, but I also understand that you probably have deep issues with abandonment. When they didn't want to have a relationship with you, all those feelings probably came flooding back. You went into survival mode, and your first reaction was to shut them out so they couldn't harm you. In my own life, I sometimes wonder how life would have been if I'd chosen differently. I can't make a recommendation either way, since I don't know your family. However, you are definitely not the a-hole. God bless you, and I hope you have a beautiful wedding. Hey Code Karen community, I hope you enjoyed these stories. Let me know in the comment section which story had the most impact on you.